When Severus Snape stood on the astronomy tower and cast the killing curse at Albus Dumbledore, the wizarding world saw a traitor finally showing his true allegiance. While the official story tells us he was acting on Dumbledore's secret orders, this timeline explores a darker reality, one where Snape was a true believer in the Death Eater cause. In a reality where Snape never plays the double agent, the Second Wizarding War collapses before it can truly begin. Harry Potter dies years before the Battle of Hogwarts, and the Dark Forces secure a decisive victory. To understand how rapidly this alternate timeline falls apart, we have to look at this flowchart mapping the original Nexus event, the prophecy. In the canon story, Snape overhears the prediction and delivers it to Voldemort. But the moment he realizes Lily Potter is the target, his love for her forces him to defect. As you can see by this bright path on the chart, that single decision creates a hidden, dual-layered protection network around Harry. Now look at what happens if we alter that single node. If Lily's death hardens Snape instead of breaking him, he blames Dumbledore for failing to protect her. His grief pushes him into Voldemort's ranks for good. The protection network around Harry shatters, and Snape's critical connection routes back to the Dark Lord. The immediate consequence of this shift cripples the Resistance. Dumbledore loses his most deeply embedded spy, leaving the Order of the Phoenix blind to Death Eater movements. Simultaneously, Voldemort retains his sharpest mind, tilting the strategic balance in his favor. The first physical impact of this blindness hits during Harry's first year at Hogwarts. When Professor Quirrell jinxes Harry's broom during the Quidditch match, a loyal Snape watches from the stands. Without a secret counter-curse to stabilize the broom, Harry loses his grip and falls to his death in front of the entire school. If Harry survives that fall, his second year becomes a period of active persecution. As the Chamber of Secrets opens, Snape identifies and punishes anyone connected to Dumbledore's inner circle, turning Hogwarts into a paranoid, hostile environment. By his third year, the situation deteriorates as Snape indulges his visceral hatred for Sirius Black. In the original story, Dumbledore's presence kept that obsession in check, which accidentally benefited Harry. Stripped of those restrictions, Snape weaponizes his hatred. He manipulates the chaos to ensure Sirius is subjected to the Dementor's kiss, stripping Harry of his last protector and exposing his emotional vulnerabilities to the gathering dark forces. Meanwhile, Voldemort evolves into a far more lethal threat. Historically, his greatest weakness was his own arrogance. But with Snape regularly feeding him precise psychological intelligence on his enemies, Voldemort adopts a calculated, patient strategy. That strategy culminates in the Triwizard Tournament. Barty Crouch Jr. no longer has to operate alone. He has Snape working behind the scenes. Using his knowledge of Hogwarts' magical defenses and Harry's reckless instincts, Snape rigs the competition against Harry from the very first task. This trap guarantees that when Harry touches the portkey and lands in the Little Hangleton graveyard, he has been thoroughly outmaneuvered. The resurrection ritual completes, and Harry has zero avenue for escape. Even if Harry reaches his 6th year, the war ends at the astronomy tower. In this timeline, Snape murders Dumbledore as an act of absolute betrayal. Without the dying headmaster's prior consent, the killing curse carries its full weight of malice, securing Snape's place at Voldemort's right hand. This act severs the most vital thread of the Resistance. Dumbledore's final master plan required Snape to pass crucial information to Harry after his death. Without that cooperation, the Sword of Gryffindor remains lost, and the memories explaining the Horcruxes are never shared. The Resistance collapses. Harry, Ron, and Hermione wander the forests of Britain unequipped to understand Voldemort's immortality, while the remaining Horcruxes sit safely hidden and protected. The wizarding world plunges into a dark reality where Voldemort seizes control over the Ministry of Magic and Hogwarts, governing through public fear. This regime is virtually unstoppable, with Snape as its right hand. As a master occlumens and a genius potion maker, Snape provides the Dark Lord with a level of strategic oversight and internal security that the original Death Eaters lacked. This leads to a devastating final twist. The original prophecy applied to 2 boys born at the end of July. With Harry dead, the survival of the wizarding world falls onto the shoulders of Neville Longbottom. Neville is forced to step into the blinding green light of the Chosen One alone. He must face Voldemort without Dumbledore's preparation, without Harry's years of experience, and without a single shadow of protection from Severus Snape. This grim reality highlights the fragile thread that held the original story together. Severus Snape was not a kind man, but his single, flawed decision to choose grief over revenge was the only thing holding the wizarding world back from total annihilation. If you liked this story, check out the next video on your screen, subscribe for more stories like this, and press the bell so you don't miss any. And remember, you can also get a shout-out in our future videos by sharing your own Harry Potter what-if theories in the comments. If your idea stands out and sparks an amazing story, it might be featured in an upcoming video with your name highlighted for the entire wizarding world to hear.